Hey guys, welcome back. Today I've got my Taylor GS Mini that I just got last week, and what I wanted to do is do a little bit of tone matching so I can not have to use the pickup underneath here. It sounds pretty good, this particular model, but you know, on this guy, which is my Martin D-35, probably 1997, 98, not so much. It's got an old Fishman Blender. The concept is cool, but I think this one sounds closer, whatever they're doing here. They've just got a simple tone, volume, and an onboard tuner. So the point is, you know, I thought maybe I could swap and, you know, use, hey, if I wanted to have something that sounded nice and full like the D-35, but when I was experimenting it didn't sound all that great from playing the Taylor through a playing the Taylor through the Martin Tonematch. Before we get into it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment if you want. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and let's get started. So what I've got here is a simple path here, input 1, a cable all the way to output 1. I'm going to put a tone match block in here, and then I'm going to kind of tell you a few things that kind of confused me that actually messed up when I was trying to do this, and I didn't have my levels right, and the tone matches were terrible. So I was watching one of Leon Todd's videos, and he actually did a tone match, and of course I wanted that preset, but you know what, it's always better to try things yourself. So if you have this equipment around, then you can go ahead and do it on your own. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So what I've got is I've got the Taylor running into the input of the X-Effects on the front. You can go to the input 1 of the back too, but I've got it on the front. So that's your local signal, and you'll see those terms when we come up here. I've got a Rode NT1 in front of me. That's going to be my reference signal. That's what it can be capturing the guitar. It's pointed kind of down, level, you know, almost level, but pointing a little bit down at the 12th fret. And the nice thing is, you know, if I've got in-ears here, a pretty decent pair of custom molded in-ears. You can kind of hear, you know, the signal and kind of move around so you like the tone. I've got a Behringer X32 console. This is kind of overkill, but we use this for my band. So, but I've got the output of this channel that the mic is going into. The output of the mic is going into the input 2 of the X-Effects. And so what was happening earlier is I really didn't have the input turned up, or as far as the output of that running. I had the fader down, and I was like, why is it sounding so terrible? So I'll show you how I'm doing it here, but you got to take your interface or whatever you're using to plug your mic into and make sure that you are hearing a signal, and your X-Effects is actually getting that signal, and I'll show you in a minute. So if you look on the screen, the easiest way for me to make sure everything is good and my levels are good, everything in the X-Effects is pretty good so far. I've got my volume turned up on my guitar, so here's the signal that you're hearing. Let me turn this down so we don't have anything. So there's still that same, you know, kind of piezo sound that's in there. But I want to get this reference tone, and I'll show you what that sounds like in a minute. I'm going to turn my fader back up to where I know the output is good, and I'll show you how to do that too. So let's go ahead and add our tone match block. First, I'm going to go to config. I'm going to make sure that it is set as a reference source. This mic is set to the correct input where I've got it routing to from my mixer. So my mixer, one of the outputs is from this channel, is going into the input 2, so that's correct. If I come up here, you've got different inputs. We're going to keep it at that. The reference channel is going in its left, so it's a mono mic running out from my mixer into the left input of channel 2. Local channel, well, that's your guitar, so we're going to keep that left. These are all defaults anyway. So if I wanted to reference my solo, I could actually hear what this mic sounds like. So I just turned my volume up so you can hear my voice. It's picking it up right now. So a cool thing you can do is actually, since it's input 2, I can monitor that by going over here to input 2, and I'll just change this. Then I head over to the output block, and I make sure I'm getting something in here, right? So we've got that right there. So it has signal, so we're going to go back over and let me see if it's good. Seems to be okay. Let's go back over, change this, be sure you change it back to input 1, so it's got your guitar here. Go back to the tone match block, that solo. We've got our piezo pickup. Reference this. Now you can listen, and this is what I was talking about. So if you go over here, so that sweet spot, it seems to be right around the 12th fret. So somebody knows what they're talking about, right? So what we're going to do here, we've got everything set correctly here. And I'm going to turn off reference solo. We've got the pickup here. And all you have to do is really easy. All you have to do is hit start both, play a little bit, and then hit the match button. So when you start both, it's going to start both the reference sound, the mic, and the local, which is the guitar. So we're going to go ahead and play the same chords, just a few, for maybe, I don't know, 20 seconds. So now we have a match here, hopefully. So I'll let you hear what that sounds like. Now, if I turn the tone match block off, you'll hear the pickup again here. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to go grab my Martin and I'm going to do the same thing. But first, what I want to do is I want to come over and I want to save this or export it. Now, you can take, per the manual, they've got a tone match mini manual that you can download. And you can leave it set like this and just save this as, say, GS Mini. Or you could go ahead so you could share these out, right, which I'm going to share the IR and you can try it. So I'm going to go to export and hit the picker, and what it does is it's going to bring up all your cabinets. We're already in user 1. I'm going to pick it over here. We've got some all my other IRs here. I'm going to pick any kind of any blank preset. I'm going to name it. So I want to name this GS Mini. Enter, and then export. So that's going to go overwrite the blank preset. Tone match successfully exported. Now, until you refresh the firmware, what I found that's about the only way, or turn it off and on, you won't see that under cabs. But let's disable that. We're going to add a cab, and then we're going to pick the cab here. It's under user 1. It is right here under 45. You can hear that's like there's a cab there, but it's the little 1x12 pig, right? And you'll hear it change. It is a little bit quieter. You can adjust the level here. Bypass it. They're still really good. The onboard one is great. So I've got the D-35 now, and I've got it all the way over on the pickup here, but I'll blend it together with a flat EQ so you can kind of hear how that blender sounds. So here's nothing, right? Here's just all the way over to the piezo pickup. And you can hear that this one has that classic almost ovation, right? Now if I blend it, here's the mic. Very hollow. So if you blend it a little bit, all piezo. Sorry I keep playing the same song, but I'm trying to give you some sort of reference here. Alright, so what I've done is I've added another tone match block. I actually restarted it so I could kind of start fresh. So this is nothing, right? Tone match. Nothing matched. That way you won't have to hear the GS Mini coming through. So, alright, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to check my levels because I've got a little bit different output here. So I'll go back over to input 2, go to output 1. You see I don't have anything because I don't have my fader up, so let's turn my fader up. Now it starts to come through. So I can adjust my volume here on the guitar, or I can turn the fader up a little bit. Let's take a little more. A little hot. Add more. Alright, so now level looks good there. Let's make sure, don't forget, switch back to input 1, because that's where the reference, the local is coming into. Same thing, D-35 into the front panel of the Axe-Fx 3. And I'm about ready to tone match. I just want to make sure I've got everything cool here. I can actually start reference the solo, so I can actually hear how this sounds. Same thing, sounds pretty good where it's at. We're about a foot away, maybe a little closer. Brand new strings, because I had old ones earlier. Definitely want to get some new strings on before you do this to get the best signal. At least that's what I found. Config, let's double check the config. Everything looks good. I'm going to turn off this reference solo. Monitor's fine. Alright, so going to do the same thing. Going to start both, play the same progression, and then we're going to match that. So we should have a tone match for that now. Here's the onboard pickup of the Martin. I'm sure you're really tired of that. I changed it up. Back and forth again, onboard. Well, that's actually here. Here's all on board. So now the last thing, right? We're gonna go ahead and export that, and let's pick the one right underneath it. For some reason I need to refresh this. Really weird. It doesn't store it, so I think it stored it actually, but until I refresh the firmware, maybe just a weird bug. We're going to label this part in D-35 6. Export, and we're good. So I'm going to unplug this now, grab the GS Mini, and go through, and we're going to kind of do both and vice versa, you know. GS Mini through the Martin and Martin through the GS Mini, and see it did sound a little weird before. All right, so here we are. We're back with just the onboard. Unexpected progression, right? All right, so I've added the cab back. I'm going up here to the picker, and it's already set for GS Mini, and you can see where I saved the other one. I did have to refresh the, just to get it to not say empty, I had to hit refresh after new firmware. So now we've got the GS Mini going into my captured GS Mini, and then we'll try to test it. Still a little quiet. You can come over here, you can do either the output here or the cab output. Let's just take that up. So there's that. Here's without it. I mean, it sounds pretty good actually on the pickup here. Actually, you know what? I think I have something. Let me turn this down. Sometimes it reads this and it makes it sound warmer than it really is. So, both sound really good on this particular guitar. The tone match may be just a little bit, obviously, more like acoustic rather than something on board. But Taylor, they're getting really good on their little pickups. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this over to the Martin. Now let's listen to it there. So that's the Martin, a little bit different, right? So now we're back. Here's the reference onboard. And they captured. Now, let's try going into the GS Mini capture. On board, definitely more clear, right? Back to the Martin. So that's it for the tone matching. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and at least export these cab IRs so you can use these in your own presets. And because I haven't built any preset off of it, adding reverb or something like that. But for now, you can definitely use the cab IRs and kind of put them in your own stuff and maybe have fun with something live, right? So as always, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I put out more videos. Hit the like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of all this stuff.